Today is December 8th. Let's look at Luke chapter 1, verse 39 through 45. In those days, Mary arose and went with haste into the hill country to a town in Judah. So what does it say? That's my first question. It says that Mary, she's our main character, she arose and went. Where and when and why did she do all these things? These are questions that are helpful when you're trying to get your bearings. So it says in those days. If you go back to verse 38, 37, 36, you remember an angel, Gabriel, was talking to Mary, and the angel said, "You're going to have a baby, even though you've never been with a man." And one of the little neat pieces of proof that this is going to come true is that your relative Elizabeth, who was too old to grow a baby, she's got a baby growing in her as well. And so what would you do? What would I do if the angel said, this crazy miraculous thing is going to happen and here's a little bit of proof? I would go find my relative Elizabeth. So that's what Mary does. She arose, she went with haste into the hill country to a town in Judah. Now remember, Elizabeth had hidden herself away. She wasn't in the spotlight these days. And so this is the house where she lives, I guess. And so Mary enters the house of Zechariah and greeted Elizabeth. That's what I would do. That's what you would do. We would go and check it out. And one of the things that I think, as far as like what does it mean? It means that that our calling to believe isn't belief without evidence. Like there's evidence that's given to Mary right here. And think about this one step deeper. The fact that Mary's story was written down and Elizabeth's story was written down means that God has preserved evidence for you and me. He's called us to believe in impossible things, but he's given us evidence. And so it's not a blind belief, but it's an evidence-based belief. So that gives me a lot of encouragement when I'm thinking about what I should do. Okay, so Mary walks in, right? And when Elizabeth heard the greeting of Mary, I wonder what that greeting was. What's up? Probably it was not that. When Elizabeth heard the greeting of Mary, the baby leaped in her womb. Remember? This baby is the one that Gabriel came to Zechariah and said, he will prepare the way for the Lord. And he will be filled with the Holy Spirit from birth, from the womb, from infancy. And this is an interesting detail that inside of Elizabeth, the baby is leaping as soon as Mary walks in. Okay? And Elizabeth was filled with the Holy Spirit. And she is Elizabeth, she exclaimed with a loud cry, "Blessed are you among women." Who's she talking to? She's talking to Mary. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb. That's a fancy way of saying blessed is the baby inside of you. But see, Mary, remember, Mary wasn't married. She hadn't been trying to have kids for a long time. She was a virgin. And so this is a unique thing for Elizabeth to look at this young girl, unmarried girl, and say, blessed are you and blessed is the baby growing inside of you. I don't even know that, I don't think Mary was showing. Elizabeth is 6 months pregnant. You look pregnant when you're 6 months pregnant. When you're 0 months pregnant, when you're just a few weeks pregnant, you don't show. Although what's really cool is this baby is fully formed in so many ways, much, much earlier than people realize. Even after just 3 weeks from the moment of conception, a baby's heart begins to beat. I think it's astonishing. So Elizabeth is talking. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb. And why is this granted to me, that the mother of my Lord should come to me? Now think about the word Lord. She's saying, you, Mary girl, you are the mother of my Lord. This is a very astonishing thing. It's only really the kind of thing you would say to a queen, who is going to give birth to the next king, maybe. Like, I can imagine that. But even there, it's still kind of shocking because it just is not how you would talk about a baby. You wouldn't talk about a baby as Lord, as the ruler of everything. But that's exactly what the angel Gabriel had said would be true about this baby in Mary's womb, that he would sit on the throne of his father David, and his kingdom would be without end. So this is a consistent message, right? The Holy Spirit is speaking a message to Elizabeth, and that message is pretty consistent with the message Gabriel spoke to Mary, which gives you a thought, like, what does that mean? If the message is consistent, then maybe the source of the message is the same. If in the presence of God, if God sent out Gabriel with a message, and the Holy Spirit also brought a message, like, it's the same message. Okay. And Elizabeth is still talking. She says, "For behold," that means look, "for behold, when the sound of your greeting came to my ears, the baby in my womb leaped for joy." So even before he was born, this baby that's growing inside of Elizabeth is preparing the way for Jesus. He immediately alerted his own mother to the fact that she should look around. What is going on? The presence of God has come into our house. And here's what Elizabeth finishes saying. She says, "And blessed is she," that's Mary, "who believed that there would be a fulfillment of what was spoken to her from the Lord." Maybe she means Mary, maybe she means anyone who believes the Lord when he gives them a promise. Anyone who believes the Lord is blessed. I think she's specifically talking about Mary, but she could also be talking about herself. Didn't she believe when the angel gave the pronouncement that in her old age she would have a baby? And then Mary believed. Mary said, "Let it be unto me." Like, do your plan. I'm on board. And so what should you do? I would say do the same thing. When the Lord makes known to you his plan to rescue you from your own stupidity and sinful desires, his plan to do glorious, spectacular, totally ruin your schedule plans in your life, like, be on board. It'll be a blessing.